Welcome to my review of the Casio Classic Men's Digital Wristwatch W-800H-1. It was released in August of 2007. Now, for those of you guys out there of the more geezerly persuasion or large wrist persuasion, this is the budget Casio wristwatch for you. Well, maybe not the only one. There is a color variation of this watch. It basically has a gold accent around the border of the display. It's the W-800H-9. This lists for $19.95. That's the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, but $12 at Walmart. $12 just about any of the brick and mortar stores that you go to that, you know, where they're trying to match prices and stuff. It is the number 7 ranked men's wristwatch on Amazon.com in the bestsellers. And over at Shop Casio, it's the number 4 classic men's watch, best-selling classic men's watch. It comes with a box like this normally, unless you buy it from a less reputable seller or it's advertised as a new without tags. So you'll get a stand like this, probably with a user manual. This doesn't go with this watch, but I'm just using it for demonstration purposes because I bought this new without tags. I didn't get the box, manual, stand, etc., etc. This has a 1-year manufacturer's warranty from Casio. It's limited, so you know, it's basically if you abuse it, the warranty is void. So what you notice straight away about this watch is it has a huge display compared to the F91W. And you've got 3 rows of information, which is fairly large, especially the time. It's large digits, so if you have poor eyesight, if you're farsighted, you know, you can read most of this stuff pretty easily. You know, day of week. It's even got the year, month, and day of month. So you get the full complement of information there. You don't have to press a button to find out what the day of the month is and stuff like that. Let's quickly go through the modes. You have the home screen here, and then you have a multifunction alarm, a single multifunction alarm. You have a 24-hour stopwatch, which measures hundredths of a second, and you have dual time, and then back to the home screen. So notably absent is a countdown timer. If you need a countdown timer in your digital wristwatch, then you're going to need to move along and look for a different model. Let's take a look at the construction of this watch. It has a thick black plastic case. It has seems to be an acrylic crystal. The reason I say that is because if you go to Casio's website, they do not specify what the crystal is, which usually means that it's something that's not too flattering and they don't want to announce it to everybody. So that's 50% of the reason why I think it's acrylic, even though Amazon says it's mineral glass, but Amazon specs are usually full of baloney anyway. They'll tell you that a digital watch like this has an analog display type. You know, they're just hogwash. The other thing, if you want to check whether you have an acrylic or glass crystal, what you want to do is take 2 watches that are in the same room at the same temperature. So this G-Shock I know has mineral glass, or inorganic glass as Casio calls it. If you touch your upper lip, you'll find that acrylic feels lukewarm almost immediately, whereas glass will feel cool for 4 or 5 seconds. So that's, I think, is the easiest way to tell whether you're dealing with an acrylic or glass crystal. You've got some nice large metal buttons, round obviously, You have a 4-screw case back. This is made in China. The strap is a polyurethane. It's 18 millimeters wide down in this area of the strap. And what's nice about it is that it's longer. If you compare it to the F91W, it's nearly an inch longer. And for larger wrist, it means that this watch is more comfortable. So my wrists are 7.5 inches diameter. So the buckle is right down here on the center of my wrist, which I really like. With shorter strap watches, the buckle gets located over here, which is irritating, and it causes the watch to keep shifting. So the watch keeps shifting over to the top of my wrist. So this is ideal for me in terms of strap watch fitment. There's a lot of excess strap, which could be a nuisance because this, gets caught on things, and you almost need 2 strap keepers to keep it all. But you can always take some shears and cut this off if you want to. The strap keeper is smallish. If you compare it to a DW-5600E G-Shock, it's quite a bit smaller, so potentially this, especially that the strap sticks out like this, it gets caught on something, the strap keeper tears off, and then you've got a big long piece of strap flopping around. And that is one of the things that is a common complaint for this watch for some reason. People keep talking about the straps breaking. Very, very popular complaint. So it leads me to believe that it's a legitimate problem, and I don't really know, other than what I just mentioned about it having a lot of excess here, because the F91W is only 16 millimeters, so it's thinner, and it's thinner in terms of the thickness as well. It's not as wide and it's thinner, and yet people don't complain about this strap breaking very much. The buckle is a plastic material. Seems to be the same material as the case. I don't see complaints about these plastic buckles. People don't seem to have a problem with these breaking, although they're probably not as strong as cast metal or any metal buckle. The lug spacing is 18 millimeters, and it uses regular 18 millimeter spring bars. So you can remove these straps and replace them with an 18 millimeter strap of your choice. The battery is a 2025, CR 2025. So it's bigger than a CR 2016. You got a 10-year battery life as advertised up here. The water resistance is 100 meter, so you can use this for water sports, swimming, rafting, snorkeling, sailing, basically any kind of surface water sport except some really extreme stuff where you might have some high impacts with the water. But this is not scuba diving suitable. You don't want to scuba dive with this. If you want to go scuba diving, you need to get a 200 meter water resist like a CASIO G-Shock. Yeah, the accuracy is plus or minus 30 seconds per month, which is not super good, but most people are happy with that. It's more accurate than a mechanical watch. Let's talk illumination. In my last review, I highlighted how the F91W has a microlight, which is pretty whiz poor. It only lights up, like the left-hand side. It shines across the surface of the liquid crystal display. This W-800H has a LED backlight. So if you look in the manual, Casio talks about a light guide. So there's a single LED down here in the bottom corner, and the light from that LED is sent through a light guide which reflects it up through the liquid crystal. So the light is coming from the back side, which makes it almost as good as EL, except it's blotchy in that you have a bright spot down here. A lot of Casio G-Shocks have dual LED, so you have an LED down here and another one over here, or you have one on each side or something, which it makes it a little better, but you still have that blotchy effect. So as you can see, definitely way better than a microlight. It's actually pretty easy to read everything on the screen. It's just not quite as even as EL. I think my camera is not really doing it justice here. Another feature of the illumination is about a 1.5 second afterglow. So it stays on 1.5 seconds regardless. Even if you hold the button down, it'll still turn off after 1.5 seconds. You can also hit the button momentarily and release, and it'll stay on for 1.5 seconds. I got my camera settings sorted out a little bit here, so I think this is going to give a more real-life representation of what it looks like. Well, what do you say we go into the functions of the watch, the operation guide. You can see there are labels here, pretty, well, they stand out for all of the buttons. Adjust button over here, light button up here, 24-hour switching down here, and then the mode button on the bottom left. This watch uses module 3240. Apparently that's like an updated version of module 3092, which in and of itself was an update to module 2499. So there's kind of a long history, I guess, of Casio watches that had this sort of 3-level display. And the modes are, of course, as we went through earlier, alarm, stopwatch, dual time, and the home screen. When you're on the home screen, the light button lights up the illumination. Can't see it. This button switches between 12 and 24 hour. You can see a little PM indicator here. There's no AM indicator. I prefer when there's also AM, but if you don't see anything, it means it's AM. Or it's in 24 hour, but yeah, there's no 24-hour indicator either, so it can be a little bit confusing. You don't know whether, you won't find out until afternoon whether you're in 24-hour mode or 12-hour mode. Pressing and holding the mode button shortcuts you back to the home screen. So if you're in dual time and you press and hold the mode button, well, I guess dual time isn't a good example. Let's say stopwatch. Press and hold the mode button, it switches you back to the home screen. It's kind of unnecessary because this watch doesn't have a lot of modes. It's more of a useful when you have a lot of modes, like the Rangeman. The adjust button doesn't do anything unless you press and hold it. And then whatever's flashing can be adjusted using the right side button, bottom right button. And then the mode button, as with G-Shocks. And even though there's a button up here, you can't reverse. That's not good. So if you hold the button, it'll speed scroll, but you can't go backwards. Mode button just changes what's flashing, and then you can adjust whatever's flashing. It has a full auto calendar, so it knows what year it is. The full auto calendar is good until the year 2099. And the full auto calendar also means that it knows when the leap years are, and it will automatically add that 29th day of February. So You don't have to correct for that. That's the month, day of the month, and then you're back to the time. And that's it for the home screen. Let's go to the alarm mode. You have a single multi-function alarm. And this is the hourly chime, which I believe, yeah, if you press the adjust button, you can see this little indicator here for signal. That means that the hourly chime is turned on. It'll beep twice at the top of the hour. It's non-adjustable. It's always the top of the hour. You just turn that off and on. And then this is the single multifunction alarm. If you, I guess, press the adjust button momentarily, it turns it on. And if you press again, it turns on the snooze feature. So it's a single alarm, but it can be just a simple, a normal alarm, or it can be snooze alarm, depending on, you know, which of these you've activated. And then now it's turned off completely. If you press and hold the adjust button, now you can adjust the time. Again, there's no going back, only forward. Then the mode button will switch the digits. And down here you can set the month. So there's June 1st. So if you set the alarm thusly, it'll go off at 7:02 a.m. on June 1st. Every year, I guess. It'll be once a year. And I guess you could also have it be a snooze alarm on that day if you wanted to. If you set the month, now I'm going to have to speed scroll all the way around. That kind of stinks. Okay, if you just set the month and you have the day hyphenated, then it'll go off at it'll sound on 7:02 a.m. for every day in the month of December. And you know, you could also set it so that you have the month hyphenated, but you select a certain day. So with it set thusly, the alarm will sound at 7:02 a.m. on the 5th day of every month, 12 times a year. And again, you can have it be a normal alarm or a snooze alarm, or you can turn it off. And that's the alarm, except I believe there's a test mode. If you press and hold this button, yeah, just check to make sure your alarm beeper is actually working. That's the alarm mode. Now let's take a look at the 24-hour stopwatch. This is the start-stop button down here. The beep is kind of weak. I wish it was louder. I don't know why it's so weak there. Stop it. The light doesn't, yeah, I guess you have to use the adjust button to reset it. So start, stop, reset. And you can also do a split time. So you press the adjust button and the stopwatch keeps running in the background, but the display is frozen. So when you hit the adjust button again, it goes back to the elapsed time, and you can keep doing that. The stopwatch will keep running no matter how many times you hit split. If you want to do a first and second place finish, you'll need to press the adjust button for the first place finisher, and then press the start stop button down here bottom right for the second place finisher. And then this is your first place time, 36.76 seconds. And then this is your second place time, 43.02 seconds. And then you press adjust again, and it resets it to 0. So this stopwatch has a capacity of 24 hours. Actually, 23 hours, 59 minutes, 0.99 seconds. And then it goes back to 0 and starts all over again. And it just keeps repeating that 24-hour cycle. Now let's take a look at the final mode, the dual time mode. It's pretty simple for people who live in an area where, or they have relatives or friends that live in an area where there's a weird offset from universal coordinated time. This dual time feature can come in real handy because you can set it for whatever. If you press the adjust button, you can set the hours for whatever you want, and you can set the minutes for whatever you want. So you can have a 3 hour and 15-minute offset if you want. The seconds are synchronized with your home time or your home screen time. So you can't, adjust the seconds independently, but you can adjust the hours and minutes independently. So that's all there is to that. It's nice that you can see your home time down here at the bottom in any one of these modes. It's always there: alarm mode, stopwatch mode, dual time. Yeah, for some people, this is a really handy must-have feature or mode. And that's it. The only other thing is the test mode, where you press, I don't know if you can do it with just, I guess just 3 buttons. 2 on the left, 1 down here on the bottom. So there's a few different display tests built in here. If you press the mode button, you can move to, I believe this is like the module revision. On the case back it says 3240, but this is, I guess, more actual. I'm thinking this is probably January 8th, or January of the year 2008, 08, something like that. Mode, just more display tests. These would be used by a Casio repair center technician probably to check things. So there you have it. That's the CASIO W-800H. It's a great watch for older people with poor eyesight. It's very informative. You get 3 levels of information here, pretty much everything: year, month, day, time, day of week, everything all on the screen. The alarm on, off, and hourly signal indicators are pretty easy to see. So from an ease of use standpoint, it's great. Big buttons are really easy to press. For people with large wrists, like I showed earlier, it's got an extra long strap, so it will fit 8+ inch wrists. No problem. The only weakness seems to be that the strap breaks for a lot of people. And that may perhaps be because it's so long, and typically there's a lot of excess strap hanging out. The strap keeper, it would be nice if that was a little bigger, a little more robust. But as far as replacing the strap goes, near as I can tell, that'll cost you more than the watch. If you want a genuine factory, genuine Casio replacement strap, it's like $15, which is, more than you pay for the watch. So that doesn't make any sense. You can get like generic 18mm straps, which may not look too good, but you can get those for, less than $5 on eBay and stuff. So I guess that's a possibility. Or just replace the whole watch when the strap breaks. It might be advisable to take your shears and cut the strap shorter so that you don't have as much excess strap flopping around. That might help prevent the breakage situation. Well, anyway, I like it. I think it's, with the LED backlight, the illumination's definitely much better. The 100-meter water resist is going to protect you for most any ordinary type of activity, swimming, stuff that ordinary people are likely to do. So that concludes my review of this CASIO W-800H-1. If you have any suggestions for things you want me to include in the video, or suggestions of changing my video, or wristwatches that you would like to see reviewed, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing if you do. And I'll see you next time.